3 philosophy ideas you probably haven't thought about. Let's go. Number 1, objective morality. Now you probably have thought about whether morality is objective or not, but have you ever thought about why objective morality might be very much a real thing? Now you see, while you think that the real world exists and materia exists, you can see it, right? You can touch it, you can do all of these things. And so we believe and we see it as very objective that there is a wall behind me. That seems very objective because we can touch it and we can see it and basically we can experience it. And well, what are experiences? They are reactions in our brain and in our soul. And so, why shouldn't experiences in our brain and soul about something being right or wrong be somehow different? You see, if you're to say that all of this is just, chemical reactions in your brain, your sight is chemical reactions in your brain, your feeling of touch is, chemical reactions in your brain. So why shouldn't the chemical reactions in your brain about right and wrong and what feels good or bad be in any way more subjective than your sight or smell or any other sense that you use? You see, when we go and touch water and we see, oh, water is wet, we mean that in a very objective sense and nobody seems to disagree, even though it's just chemical reactions in our brain, right? When we touch a rock and we're like, this is solid, that seems to be objective once again, even though it's just chemical reactions in our brain. So why shouldn't chemical reactions in our brain that say, hey, I don't want somebody to punch me, or when someone punches me that feels bad, why should that be in any way subjective when touching a rock or water was objective? We objectively know that the water is wet because we can touch it and feel it. So if our touchings and our feelings and our experiences and everything determine that this is objectively wet, then surely if we feel that something is bad or good, it's in the same way objective. And well, of course, you might disagree. You might say, well, why should we care about any chemical reaction in our brain at all? Maybe the wall is only solid because it is subjective. Maybe water is only subjectively wet. That could be a position you could take. And let's say we have a soul, which seems quite plausible. Because, well, how do you get the conscious from unconscious things? It doesn't seem possible. And so maybe we have a conscious soul which gives us consciousness, which is us. And that is why we have these experiences, which we can trust and which are objective to some sense. But who knows? But it's very interesting to think about. Why should the feelings and experiences of right and wrong be subjective when experiences of water being wet or something like a burning stove being hot is somehow objective? I mean, isn't it all the similar experiences and reactions in our brain or in our soul or something? But let's move on to the next thought that you probably didn't have. Number 2, the world could be a hallucination. Now, you might have thought about this, but let's go by one bit further. Here's the thing, you can't rationalize your way out of a hallucination. You see, if you've ever had a hallucination, which I have once had a hallucination, and this is what it taught me. I was very exhausted and sleep deprived, and so, well, I saw a hallucination. It was in the military and I was in some forest, and well, I saw a fully decorated Christmas tree in a forest. I mean, you shouldn't ever see that. So, of course I rationalized to myself, okay, I'm so tired and exhausted that I'm hallucinating that tree there. But, well, I still believed it to be real. Even though in my rational brain I could say that is a hallucination 100%. There's no way there's a fully decorated Christmas tree in the middle of a forest. Yet somehow there is, and somehow my body and everything believed it, even though I could try to rationalize it. And so when we have hallucinations, you can't rationalize your way out of it. That's why, people with paranoid schizophrenia or something, or people who, in some other way hallucinate, they always say that you cannot, in a sense, just rationalize your way out of it. Like, you can't just, oh, I know that I have been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia or something that makes me hallucinate. So now the hallucinations that I can just live without them. Oh yeah, I just can ignore them. You can't. And so the real world could be a hallucination, and we simply cannot rationalize our way out of it. Now, do I actually believe that the world is a hallucination? No. But it's an interesting thought, because we literally, if you've ever experienced it, you cannot rationalize your way out of it. And because you cannot rationalize your way out of it, we could never rationalize our way out of this if this was a hallucination, which is quite a scary thought, because it would leave us, in a sense, helpless. We can never rationalize anything, because all of it is just hallucination. You can never rationalize your way out of it. You're simply stuck helplessly in experiencing whatever you experience, and that's just the existence which you have, the life which you live. And well, that's everything that you know, because every rational thing that you can even think of or make out of is based upon the very hallucination of the world that you don't actually know, because it's a hallucination. Well, really interesting. But hey, let's go on to the next idea. Number 3, aliens are AI. So let's go on a bit of a different sort of thing. So aliens, everyone loves talking about them, everyone loves thinking about them. What if aliens existed? Who knows? But what if aliens existed and we met them and they weren't actually aliens, but they were robots? It doesn't really make sense to say that aliens are robots, because when we say alien, we want some green Martian or something. But it would actually make quite a lot of sense that if they are these super intelligent species which is able to move around and travel in the different galaxies or something, then they probably have evolved to such a degree, and their technology has evolved to such a degree that, well, very easily they could have replaced their bodies with, well, replaceable metal parts or some other material that we do not even know of. Because the same way that humans could be like, well, one day let's somehow transport our consciousness or something into a machine, and then we can just have the machine and the machine never fails. Because it's quite easy to change parts out of a machine. It's quite hard to change hearts, for example. I mean, a heart transplant is kind of, dangerous. It can fail. It requires someone else's heart. You can't really mass produce hearts. I mean, you can maybe 3D print some of them now, but I don't even know how effective those are. And it's like, but if we just replace everything with metal or some other material, that's pretty easy. We just have some factory pumping out billion parts a sec that we can just replace just like that. DIY at home, But hey, maybe aliens would be just some robots or even AI. Maybe the aliens were overtaken by AI, and now it's just an AI which lives on, and the aliens are long gone. Very interesting thought. But anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day.